I'm Chance Walker, and this is my Sprite vs. Shasta Twist taste test project. We performed this project to record the effect of price and popularity that has on consumers' decisions. In the blind taste test, such as the one we performed with Sprite and Shasta Twist, which is a generic version of Sprite, preferences can often be surprising and mysterious to the observationist. This is because in real life, popularity and price often affect how a consumer will choose to buy. In a blind taste test, all factors except for taste are removed from the equation. This type of research can help consumers with shopping decisions by opening their eyes to the taste of a product rather than the cost and popularity. Although it may not always be the case, sometimes the generic versions actually do produce better results with consumers, thus allowing them to buy the more palatable product at a cheaper cost. Our experiment was set up outside of the Noble Research Center, and our sample of participants consisted of random students walking to and from class. Students in the class were put into 4 different groups and given different tasks. The hosts were in charge of recruiting people as they passed, thank them for participating, and give each of them a clipboard and a survey, alternating surveys between versions A and B. They also were in charge of collecting surveys as people finished, and keeping count of the number of people who were recruited but declined to participate. The second group were the guides. These were the people stationed at the orange and black tables to give directions to the people. As someone comes to their table, they were in charge of presenting them which trays they needed to do to complete the survey in the right manner. They were also in charge of helping people with the directions. The third group were the janitors. They were in charge of keeping clean and throwing the trash away. And the fourth group were the chefs. They were in charge of loading trays with the appropriate materials for the taste test. So, 2 versions of the survey were handed out. Version A began with the orange experiment, and version B began with the black experiment. Once the participants were done with the first experiment, they would move on to the other one. Here's a video clip. The first, what you're seeing now is the black table, which is the 2 cans. What you're seeing now is the orange table, which is the actual blind taste test. This is how students were recruited as they were walking to and from class. And here we have where we were setting up the black experiment by randomizing what the cans contained. And here's a sample of the 2 beginning questions. The first one was, of the 2 drinks below, if they were both the same price, which would you prefer to buy? And the majority selected Sprite. The second question was, how certain are you of your preferences for these 2 drinks? The last 3 questions, which again were the same on both versions A and B, were, how often do you drink soda or other sugary drinks? How often do you drink Sprite, generic brands of Sprite, or other non-caffeinated but sugary lemon lime drinks? And what is your gender? And these questions, such as the last 3, give data analysts what role consumption and gender plays in the results of the survey. And here we have the orange experiment, which was the blind taste test, and this was done by the randomization of putting 2 different sodas, Sprite and Shasta Twist, into styrofoam cups. The directions directed the participants to one one of two trays. The first one was a circle tray, which the first cup contained Sprite and the second cup contained Shasta Twist. And the next tray was the square tray, which cup 1 contained Shasta Twist and cup 2 contained Sprite. As you can see, the directions were pretty straightforward. In the tray in front of you, do you see a circle or square? And then the participant would move to whichever one, or would check whichever shape they saw, and then would take a drink of cup 1 and then record their answer, whether they liked it or disliked, and then they would take a drink of cup 2 and record their answer again. Then the next experiment was a black experiment, which was randomized, and this a participant was directed to one of 4 different trays, and they would select which tray they're at, A, B, C, or D. Tray A, the left can contained Sprite, or the left can was a Sprite can containing Shasta Twist. The right can was a Shasta Twist can containing Sprite. Tray B was the left can contained Shasta Twist, and the right can was a Sprite can containing Sprite. The black experiment continued. Tray C, the left can was a Sprite can containing Shasta Twist, and the right can was a Shasta Twist can containing Shasta Twist. Tray D was the left can contained Shasta Twist containing Shasta Twist, and the right can was a Sprite can containing Shasta Twist. And here's an example of the question for the black experiment. They simply marked which tray they were at and took a drink of the Sprite, whatever came out of the Sprite can, whether it was Shasta Twist or Sprite, and marked it accordingly, as they did with the Shasta Twist. The survey was recorded into a Google Forms document in our class. In order to prevent errors, each survey was entered by multiple students and then checked after that. The data showed that the blind taste test was very much in favor of Shasta Twist. This can help purchasing decisions by cutting the cost, because Shasta Twist seemed to be more palatable when price and popularity were not taken into consideration. Supporting ideas of the results were in fact mysterious and surprising. I would have never thought that the Shasta Twist would have been better than the Sprite myself. And here's a chart of our experiment data. Here you can see that almost 40% were liked very much and liked moderately Shasta Twist more than Sprite. The data was compiled in a Excel spreadsheet, and the first step was to take the VLOOKUP functions of the whether the students liked or moderately liked each drink in cup 1 and cup 2, and then which was also, and the scale used to produce the numbers is shown here on the right. We then used if statements to rate the Sprite and Shasta Twist. So the columns on the right, if the survey had a circle, the number was taken out of the column on the right under cup 1 rating. If the circle had a square, then it was taken out of the column headed cup 2 rating. And then we used a COUNTIF function. For like extremely, we used we would go through and count each one that was like extremely, and then divide that by 45, because 45 was the number of students we had participating, and that's how we came up with the percentages. Calculations were done similar to the orange example for the black example. Participants in this survey tended to favor the Sprite can more, and this was because they could see what the container was pouring out. And here's our black experiment results. Here you can see that about 37% of the surveyors very much liked Sprite rather than Shasta Twist.